you want to tag a big buck during the early season, you need an effective hunting strategy. And what's key to getting within range of a daylight buck early on during hunting season is sliding in close to his bedding area. A lot of hunters, including myself, really enjoy hunting the pre-rut. And it's easy to understand why. That's when bucks are on their feet, putting more miles on, especially during daylight hours, trying to find those first few receptive does. And as that buck is traveling a bit more during daylight, there's an increased chance of a hunter crossing paths with that buck. Bucks are also coming into calling, rattling, grunting. There's a lot going on in the deer woods. But even though that's an exciting time to hunt, don't overlook the early season before that pre-rut really starts ramping up. Every fall, there are some monsters harvested during the first few weeks when deer season opens. First, season's just opened. There haven't been a lot of hunters in the woods alerting deer. Those deer are fairly unpressured, and those first few hunts can be really effective if there's not a lot of hunting pressure. You don't think you want to hunt public land. A lot of folks talk about going into, way back in there where there's not as much pressure. Bucks, deer, they really can feel a lot of hunting pressure, and they will adjust their movements based on human activity. So being able to slide in right out the gate before a lot of hunters hit the woods, deer are still comfortable on their patterns, and that can be a really effective time to catch a buck on his feet. Because there's not as many hunters in the woods, there haven't been as many bucks tagged yet. The more days you get into hunting season, not only the more hunting pressure there's been, but more and more bucks are being tagged, and that reduces the numbers out there that you could see and harvest. You get into the pre-rut and rut, bucks start fighting, causing injuries. There's mortality from other hunters. The rut really kicks on, car accidents. There's fewer and fewer bucks running around every day into season. So hunting early, you've got the biggest pool of bucks that there's going to be that season. So there's not as much hunting pressure, there's more bucks out there, and bucks are more focused on food than they are breeding. Bucks, for the most part, are still on those food cover patterns, and that makes patterning a buck a little bit easier, identifying where his core area is and how he's moving within the habitat. And that makes putting a hunting strategy together much easier to find defined travel corridors than just going out and trying to hope a buck's traveling through the area that day. You know this is kind of his core area. There's food in the area. How's he traveling from cover to food? Then you can slide in when the conditions are right and try to tag that buck. Using this type of hunting strategy, especially during the early season, when temperatures can be a bit warmer, bucks have started putting on their winter coat, so it's really warm for them out there. They can't wear that thin layer of thelete like we can. They've got that heavy coat. They're probably not going to be moving quite as much during daylight hours. It gets cooler overnight. So they're doing a lot of their movement during early mornings, throughout the night, and those last few minutes before dark when temps start dropping. So as a hunter, you need to get as close as you can to that bedding area to try to catch that buck on his feet as he gets up out of his bed and before he starts traveling to get to a food source. If you're hunting a food source, he might not get there till dark. So you got to be in a travel corridor and as close to that bedding as you can be. Not only is it being close to the bedding area, but you got to be able to get there and hunt it without alerting that buck. This is where a lot of hunters will scream October lull, and they won't hunt, and they miss some great opportunities. Rather, they need to adjust their hunting strategies because deer are still going to move. We know this from GPS collars. They still have to feed and water daily. But you have to adjust your hunting strategy to be able to encounter that deer during daylight hours. Those warm temperatures, changing food sources, they change really dramatically this time of year. Acorns drop, we get a big wind gust, a tree drops a bunch of acorns just overnight. Crops are hardening off, native vegetation's hardening off. Those dramatic shifts at this time of year means those patterns deer were on are changing too. But it doesn't mean deer are moving. You just gotta be in the woods and finding that MRI, the most recent information, to find deer and the areas that they're using. Hunters that adjust their strategy and find that current food source and slide really close to a bedding area, less than 100 yards, they're not talking about the October lull. They're seeing and they're tagging deer. This is the strategy team member Levi Remole used to tag a big northern Missouri buck just a few days ago. Missouri's archery season opened September 15th, and just a few weeks after that, Levi was getting a nice buck he called double wide on his trail cameras. Double wide was very active in a travel corridor where he had a nice block of timber to bed in and ag fields just to the east. Levi had a trail camera in that little travel corridor, and he was catching double wide going to and from food and cover.
Growing Deer is brought to you by Bass Pro Shops and Cabela's. Also by Green Cover Food Plots, Winchester, PH Outdoors, Black Widow Bows, Moultrie, Steel, Fleet Outdoor Apparel, Morel Targets, Fourth Arrow, Soil Pro Outdoors, Scorpion Venom Archery, Case IH Tractors, Burris Optics, and Redneck Hunting Blinds.
Levi noticed that double wide wasn't moving during the mornings, and if he was, it was under the cover of darkness, going from food back to cover while it was still cool. He knew if he hunted mornings, even though double wide was in the area, he was likely going to bump double wide, go in there right as the buck is still moving. He could alert that deer, and he may never have a crack at him. However, he was getting daylight images of double wide coming out of the bedding area and getting to the food. That told Levi he needed to wait until a good afternoon, slide in real close to the bedding area, and hunt double wide getting up out of his bed. And Levi started preparing for the first hunt of the 2026 season. The wind was forecast to be a north-northwest wind, which was perfect for Levi to slide in from the east through the ag field, slide up the travel corridor, and up into his stand. In fact, in the timber, there's an area where it starts getting fairly thick, brushy. Levi believed this thicker area in the timber was where double wide was bedding. Not necessarily an individual bed, but the habitat double wide was using to stay cool and shaded during the day. Levi was able to slip into about 50 yards of where this quote-unquote bedding habitat began.
It is October the 6th. I'm up here in Missouri. This is actually my first set of the year, which is pretty rare for me. I usually try to get out multiple times in September, but the weather's just been really hot this year. And I've been getting some really good bucks on camera. I got a really wide deer that's at least 4 years old. Called it double wide. If you look right over here, there's some really thick stuff. It gets really brushy. Kind of some underbrush and some down logs and stuff, and that goes back there at least 150 yards. And then there's you got a big creek over here to the right a little bit, big river. You can hear the neighbor cut beans, so hopefully that won't bother us too much. But anyway, this is the trail we've been getting on trail camera. It's really beat down. He's been beating it up, so hopefully he'll come by today. And over here we've got a food plot and beans over here, so, and then there's a bunch of oaks right over here, and then on that edge right there, so I'm pretty sure he's bedding, hopefully. That's really, if we've been getting him, I'd say he's bedding within 150 yards. I'd say maybe 200 max in this thick stuff here, and I think he's coming out on this trail, so say that we have a good chance of seeing something. So
Levi hadn't been in the stand long, and he spotted deer moving his way. As this doe and yearling buck worked through the travel corridor, Levi looked into the thick cover and he spotted antlers. It was double wide. He had been bedded just a few yards inside the cover. Double wide got up, stretched, and as Levi was watching him, he bedded back down.
okay, guys, I'm literally shaking right now. It's almost 6 o'clock. Literally right where I pointed out where I thought this buck might be. He just stood up and licked himself for a little bit. He's a really good buck. He's the wide one. We call it double wide. He's about like 50 yards. If he does what he's been doing every single night, he should walk by at 20 yards, but I can still see his antlers moving, but he laid back down, so fingers crossed. I'll point out where he is here. That's where he's at. Alright guys, wish me luck. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and video real quick here. Levi just sent me a text. He's got the big boy bedded 50 yards from him. It's so cool. He sent me a text 30 minutes ago or so and said, hey, he's like, I know where that buck's bedded. Because there's no doubt there's a bunch of deadfalls not too far from the stand here. And he goes, that's where he's got to be at. And just sent me a text. I guess it stood up and licked itself. And then laid right back down. So, fingers crossed. Praying that deer doesn't smell him. We got this weird swirly wind, so I don't know. Praying it goes well, so. Oh, it's exciting. It's so fun. Stay tuned. We'll see what happens.
About 20 minutes later, Levi spotted double wide, stand up, and Levi got ready, hoping old double wide would head his way. You talk about being on the edge of your seat. Levi's working both that fourth arrow camera arm, self-filming, and trying to get ready for the shot.
Smoked him. I smoked him. I smoked him. He's down. He's down right there. No way. No way. Oh my goodness. I just drilled it. Oh my goodness.
Old double wide does the old mule kick, and Levi's excited because he knows that buck's not going far.
Levi just smoked him.
Levi's dad, Nathan, was also hunting that afternoon, but his hunt was cut short when he got word from Levi that he had just shot old double wide.
Let's go. Dad's only like 200 yards away. I just called him. He's gonna climb down and he's gonna come here. All right, I just got down. I get over here. Find Levi. An old double wide. We really didn't have a name for him. So right here at the end, and I was just texting my cousin. It's his ground. Grateful for him too. Just texted him the other day, and I just called it double wide. Just sounded right. Man, so pumped. That's nice. That's nice. Ready? Go. Oh, shot him like right there. That's so cool. He literally was bedded right in there, Dad. In that junk.
When you told me that, I was like, I know exactly what he's talking about.
I shot him like almost 20 minutes ago now.
Yeah, 550.
But I'd seen him for like 30 minutes before that. And he literally comes right through here, walking right at me. He's coming right through here.
Oh.
He gets right there and I'm like, oh, this is gonna be bad. I'm super open. I don't know. That tree is way too open, but
It is.
like, he's coming right at me. I'm like, this is gonna be bad, you know, because he's gonna get too close. But right there, I was so glad he turned. And a little bit of brush here to draw. And I ended up shooting him right here, but I got a complete pass through. My arrow should just be right there.
You definitely felt safe in this area.
Yeah, some really good bubbly blood. But yeah, no, he's just bleeding all over through here. Right there he is. He's really tucked in right there.
Oh, wow. Nice.
There you go. It's an awesome deer. Wow. He
What a frame.
fought for it. He got over here pretty good. Man, that's cool. Big old framed North Missouri buck right there. It's a frame right there if I've ever seen one.
Yeah, it is.
That's awesome.
Nice shooting, buddy. Nice
Thank you.
work.
Congratulations, Levi, on a great early season buck and a well-executed hunt. Levi got in very close to where he believed double wide was bedded. In fact, he was less than 100 yards away. And that's why it's really important to have a really good entry strategy. Get up, there was a great wind, and a well-executed hunt. And it ended with a great set of antlers and more venison for the Remole family. If you've followed Growing Deer for several years, you've seen Levi tag a pile of critters. And that's because Levi has really good hunting strategies and he executes them well. If you want to have a successful life, you need to have a really good strategy and execute it. And the best strategy for anyone's life is found in the Bible. I hope you slow down this week, learn what the Creator has laid out for your life in His Word, and you choose to follow Him daily. Thanks for watching Growing Deer.